Welcome to the infamous Kevin Straw podcast. Today we're going to be talking about how technology has empowered minimalist business, and today's guest that I have here today is Diana Olynick. Hi, Diana.
Hi, how are you doing today? I'm very excited to be here sharing all my insight and experience with all of you.
We are excited to have you today. So, what is your background in minimalist business?
Okay, so first of all, I'm going to take this opportunity and introduce myself. I'm Diana Olynick. I'm an engineer by profession, and currently I am living in Manitoba, Canada, a very cold place, by the way. I also, from my engineering practice, was always very intrigued by the business side and became specialized in systems. At that time, it was this philosophy that is called quality systems. And later on, I became more specialized in automations, which over time I was able to merge this expertise with my core fundamentals in business for what is called a minimalist business or the minimalist philosophy or lifestyle, let's say. And the whole purpose of this is to streamline the businesses and life. So it was kind of like bringing that philosophy of the day-to-day life, of getting rid of stuff that doesn't serve you well, and getting rid of inefficiencies, not just in the life but also in business, and applying it to get more of like a streamlined business by the application of all of these strategies.
Wow, that is quite impressive. So, when you're talking about minimalist business, for people who don't understand what a minimalist business is versus, say, a regular business.
Okay, yeah, that's a good question. I'm going to explain it a little bit by explaining a little bit of my kind of story. As part of my own personal story, I decided to adopt in my own lifestyle the principles of minimalism that are related, as I explained, with getting rid of everything that is not fulfilling or essential and operate just with the basics. So during my own personal journey, I realized how fascinating and also practical this was for my own personal life because I became more intentional, I became even more efficient, and the stuff that I did in my day to day became easier, faster. So it had all the benefits. So then later on, I realized about this parallel between the principles in the minimalist movement or philosophy that I love to study and apply in my own life. And I decided to give it a try and apply some of these principles, of course, as I explained with all my expertise that I learned before in the engineering and that I practice, of course, related with systems, with creating systems in businesses. And the result was amazing. Beyond a philosophy, minimalism is one of the most practical and essential fundamentals that I found to apply in business and life. So for a business, it means streamlining processes, getting rid of inefficient activities that are not adding value, creating procedures, systems, forms to evaluate the processes, for example, indicators, key performance indicators, and automations. And as we know now, automations involves the use of the last technologies available to operate in a streamlined way. So when I say automations, I mean something, for example, in the old times, we would have to write down every single email that we would be sending to the clients, right?
Mm-hmm.
But now there are specific platforms in which we don't have to do that, and we can automate the emails that are going to the client. So all of that time that was invested before in hiring someone to do these administrative tasks is gone, and is gone forever. We don't have to do that anymore. And at the time that clients are receiving the emails, the person who wrote the email might have written the email maybe 3 months ago, and the person can be at the beach right now. And even those emails, for example, can be selling. So all the systems of sales are now being transformed by artificial intelligence, I say, by robotics, and by these automations. So many people, as we know, became, millionaires now in these times by the production of software. Because now with software, we have realized that it has made the lives easier and more efficient for many businesses. So now the problem that I see is that small businesses are still kind of like a little bit behind, and realizing of this, it takes like a learning curve to knowing how to apply these systems and how to apply them in a way that actually is going to get the results that we are looking for, which is actually saving you time, saving you money, and creating that streamlined business that is going to give you more time for you and your family. So that's kind of like the general idea. And a traditional business wouldn't have necessarily these systems in place. Traditionally, a business owner would open his business or her business and wouldn't realize of all these systems that need to be in place. So they would be just operating but what it comes day to day without having systems in place. So that would be the difference and the advantage. And the main benefit is having more. It can be used for scaling a business for sure, but in my own personal opinion, the best asset that you can get out of this implementation is having a more streamlined lifestyle, because there are some entrepreneurs that value more the time than the money.
Mm-hmm.
The money can be there, but sometimes when you create businesses that are so big, you create more responsibilities, more stress, you know. But in a lifestyle business, you can have enough time and control of your own freedom by implementing these systems and being able to still share time with your family or doing the golf, or, you know, practicing the sport that you want, and have more like a balanced life.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the purpose and the benefit.
Yeah, well, I tend to agree that small business owners definitely wear a lot of hats. And even if you're talking about a small business, which is like a startup or something like that, time is often more important than money. And yeah, anything that you can do to sort of increase anything you can do to decrease the amount of time you need to do a task is generally far more valuable, even if it costs you a little bit of extra money. Like, I know for right now, I'm doing these podcasts, and one of the things I am trying to do, when you talked about the email list, is I'm actually trying to build up an email list system right now using
Mm-hmm.
technology, so that I don't have to go and hunt down everyone's email, ask for email, etc. Have it where I can collect all these emails, and then when I write an email and set up to have it go out scheduled when I post a new podcast or a new video or, a new piece of content, that, I'm only having to write one email and it automatically sends it to everybody. And I'm like, okay, it's done. I don't have to go and, write an email saying, "Dear John, I just posted this video that you might be interested," or, "Hey, Janet, here's a audio book that you might be interested in." I have it now where it's going to be automated. When I get those emails, I plug them into the system and then I go. So that has allowed me to cut back a little bit of the amount of time it takes me for promotion, for sure.
Yeah, I was just gonna add that with the recent crisis, for example, locally where I live, I've realized of how many establishments had to close their operations because they didn't have the infrastructure to operate online.
Mm-hmm.
So this is a real situation, like this is a real concern that many businesses that were very small and local didn't think that this was going to be a thing, like being online, that it was that important. But it is. It can be the difference between being able to operate and scale a business or not. So that's why the idea is to being able kind of like a little bit with the trend and in technology, and being able to differentiate what technology I can implement for every stage of the business.
Yeah, for marketing, there's definitely a lot of new technologies that allow people to communicate more efficiently. And I totally agree. Like, we had out here, we had the baker and the butcher. I'm in a small town, and it was like people were wondering, are they open? And they don't know. And yet they're there with signs on the front step of their establishments going, "We are open, come in, get your food." And it's like, if they had had an email list, if they had like an online marketing platform of some sort, they could have told everyone, send an email, said, "Hey guys, we know that COVID's happening, but we're open. Here's our, limitations and the procedures to get the food that minimize impact, but please come and shop." Instead, I think it took them about an extra week or two before people
Exactly.
actually started, visiting them and actually ordering stuff too. So they were able to be busy, and then they were really busy.
Exactly. So that is what makes the difference. And retaining those emails or that information from the clients is actually, like in my own opinion, the number one asset of a company is its database. Even
Hmm.
if the business is small, even if the business is starting, that is where the money is. If you don't have that database, you don't have a business, basically, because that is what is going to allow you to contact your clients and continue surviving, for example, in business by offering more products or services to the same clients. So as long as you have built a credibility, you always have a business if you have that database in place.
Oh, and I completely agree. Like one of the things I'm trying to do right now, as I said, is like for me, I'm working on the email list. I'm trying to work on some other stuff as well. But it's like I'm on YouTube, I'm on Instagram, I'm on these things. But at the end of the day, this is borrowed real estate, and it's Instagram that has the database of subscribers. It's YouTube that has a database of subscribers. At the end of the day, if they decide to turn off or decide that they want to close my account for some strange reason, I have no way of contacting my subscribers. So I'm building, as I said, building up that email list. So I have a way that if for some reason something drastic happens in the future, I still have a way of contacting people and saying, hey, I'm still here and here's where you can find the content. Um, so yeah, definitely having a
Yeah.
database is extremely valuable these days. And it's definitely something that a business owner, minimalist or not, should have.
Yes, exactly.
All right.
And another type of tool that is interesting to explore is, in order to get the emails, automations like bots installed in Messenger, for example, in Facebook, in a Facebook page.
Mm-hmm.
What it allows is not just trusting in also the email platform, because with these in these days, have you realized so many emails that you get from so many, offers
Oh,
from other people?
I get a lot of emails.
So yes, so then it make us think, okay, so then this is gonna be again another trend or something new that is gonna help with this problem, because your emails are gonna be started to get, lost in all the noise of that somebody else is offering. That's why the other option is installing a bot, for example, in a Facebook page, where you can also extract some other information, asking, of course, because there are many regulations about that, but asking if the person would be interested to continue receiving this type of communications by the messenger, because people is there,
Mm-hmm.
or by a cell, or if they want to give you the email and cell phone number sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
So time, like many years ago, giving away the email was like a private state for people. It was like, no, I don't want to give away my email to just anybody.
Yeah.
Now pretty much for everything that you're gonna do, you need to enter your email. So people got more relaxed and realized, okay, giving away the email is okay.
Yeah.
Now it's gonna happen the same with the phone number. People would say, no, a phone number is something private. But the apps, as you are realizing, are asking you, even Facebook and Instagram, they didn't ask you for your cell phone number before, or phone number. Now they ask for that in order for you to get, the two-way authentication for
Mm-hmm.
security purposes. So now people is starting to get used to that. That means that other apps and everybody else is going to start asking for the phone number, and it's going to be okay, and this information can go directly to their cell phone. So that is interesting, because we can always be exploring ways to keep that database, because
Mm-hmm.
that is the purpose. As long as we have a database, we have a business. Even if we move to another place, even with now the technology that we have, we now know that is proven that we can operate from anywhere in the world, and it doesn't matter the type of business. Before, we used to believe, no, if it's a business that is just a production, like industrial or something, that cannot be the way. But there are so many ways to market and to sell stuff, that now it's possible. You can be anywhere in the world. So there are so many benefits about implementing systems and automations, and are very relevant these ways for a minimalist business, because the idea of a minimalist business is that you create a business that is lean.
Mm-hmm.
And lean means that you don't create so much operations that are difficult for you to manage. You just create the ones that you specifically need, and you keep your business simple, right? Like simple
Mhm.
to use, so you don't create complexity, because the complexity is going to take away your time. The philosophy of a minimalist business is that you have the control and you have the freedom to continue doing the things that you want in life.
Yeah, I wholly agree with that. So one of the questions I have, like, so for a business person that's like a soloist person, they're running their own business and they are their only employee. Um, it becomes very obviously that, being a minimalist business, the idea is that you want to maximize your business while minimizing the number of hours that you need to run it, especially hours that you need to run it that aren't directly related to, like, I'm going to say, billable hours. In other words, if you have a contract to do 10 hours of work, that's great, you can do 10 hours of work, but you don't necessarily want to do 10 hours of work and then 5 hours of other stuff to support that 10 hours of work. So one of the questions I have for, like, people just starting and sort of having that 1 or 2 man operation or women operation, would be, what are your thoughts about people when they contracting out, especially now over the internet, that being sort of that ease of use of being able to contract people around the world. As you mentioned, people can now work around the world. Do you find minimalist business owners are contracting out work to other people when they need it, so they're not having to, like, build a huge, complex, I guess, business strategy with employees and stuff at home?
I actually love that topic a lot. It is related with a topic that I like to talk about, that is called virtual teams or remote teams. That is a topic that is going to become very trendy, because now, with this crisis, many companies, even big companies, not just small ones, had to adhere to these type of models that are kind of like new for some. But yeah, I'm going to explain about your specifically your question for a very small, a business owner starting out with not a big team, and how is it like contracting or not contracting, etc. First of all, I want to say, usually, for many people in the old times, when they started their businesses, they started with the idea that, let's say that I was a painter, right?
Hmm.
And I was working for a company, local company or something like that. And I realized that rather than being working for someone else, I should be working for myself and create my own painting company, right?
Hmm.
That's how many people start out. They realize that they have some expertise and they prefer to go by themselves. But then the problem that these many people encounter with this model is that they realize that when they were unemployed, they work 8 hours, and now when they want to start a business, on top of painting and trying to get the contracts,
Hmm.
now they have to know how to make sales, how to sell the contracts, how to do marketing, how to do accounting, or how to do the financials, on how to report the taxes. And many people, we don't know how all of this works until we just go there and realize by themselves. So what it creates is that instead of working 8 hours, you start working 14 hours or 15 in order to try to keep this business alive. So, in my own opinion, I feel that it's very, very, very beneficial if the business at the beginning is taught by thinking that, yeah, you have a passion that you want to do, but being conscious of the fact that having a business is another different topic to be painting. It's a
Hmm.
different, it's kind of like a total field of knowledge. It's a different thing, it's a different giant. So it's better to decide to have a business when we have this understanding, and we try to, of course, get prepared, let's say, for that, and get help or support. Because the number one recommendation is that, this is not going to sound very nice for some people, but this is what the most, like, the biggest companies have done, or like at least the biggest founders of companies in the world have done. And is that they knew they had a passion, but they decided to leverage in and create a team around, to leverage their expertise, so they could actually get this passion and this dream come to life,
Mm-hmm.
not the other way around. Not the way that I know this passion and I'm the painter and all I'm gonna do is paint. No, we have to approach the business in the way of I have to build a team that knows how to do, painting, for example. And I'm gonna focus in the highest level strategy. So this grows. That is the real, that's when a real entrepreneur becomes an entrepreneur. Before that, he's just working for a business that he created. He's an employee of his own business.
Mm-hmm.
After that, when that shift in the mind is done and accomplished, then you become a real entrepreneur, which is the point in which you know that to grow, you need to get or build a team around you. And building this team doesn't have to be like many years ago, where you had to hire people for certain amount of hours. That's why many people didn't start, as a solo entrepreneur,
Mm-hmm.
couldn't start businesses many years ago because there were no resources or technology available to do that, right? The only option kind of was to hire people by the hour, and that created contracts and regulations and super complexity in businesses. Yeah, now is not the case. Now with all of this technology, you can hire someone and work just, if I just need a graphic design, for my business, my logo, my website. So then I just go and hire someone for to do the web page. How much is the web page? It's $700. Okay, I just paid the 700 and it's done. You don't have to worry about billing hours and the benefits and the taxes and everything that it implies. So it's easier than ever to do that. I encourage people to, if they have a passion and they understand that they want a business for also the love of being a business owner, not just for the love of being, they to apply their expertise, then this is a good moment with all the technology that we have right now at our fingertips.
Okay. Do you have any suggestions on where people might be able to go to hire people to do this kind of work?
I started using a Fiverr. That is one option. The rates are low, but you have to be very careful, of course. And the reviews are not the only consideration. Kind of check their background, check the work samples that they have. As for that, and but then I moved to another platform, which is Upwork. Upwork is a good platform because it seems that they go through a more a strict type of a little bit of a filter to know which freelancers they kind of show up more in the page. So then
Mm-hmm.
it kind of like, if there is a filter, is you can trust more in their quality of work.
Yeah.
And there is another
Upwork
one
seems to
that
have
is
a
called,
much more Upwork seems to have a much more rigorous procedure in terms of hiring.
yes,
Whereas
yes,
Fiverr's
for
like
sure.
that, you need somebody now, but you won't need them later. Upwork seems to be you're trying to
Mm-hmm.
hire somebody with the idea being that you're going to possibly build a you know continued relationship with them as the business expands, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, there are so many options there that are absolutely amazing. Like, for example, if you want to just hire a little team for accounting, they have it for you. That's awesome. Your little team for financials to manage your financials, they have it for you. You're a virtual assistant, they have it for you. It's awesome. I get so excited about all of these resources available because I imagine myself before how I could have a business with all the complexities that there were before or limitations, and now it's not the case. And another one that I could recommend is online jobs.ph. And this is a site that is, it features people from the Philippines. The rates are good and still, okay, I'm gonna here add something that is very important for me, that I really like to share that from my heart. And is that as a business owner, when we get really passionate about all of this, we also know that besides doing some money, besides doing something that we love, we also want to do something that kind of like have an impact or can extend this beautiful thing that we created and help others if possible, not just the clients but someone else. So I feel that when you go to these platforms and you hire these people, like for some of them, because I've seen the profiles and I interact with them, I talk to them, I love that opportunity. And there is people from Nigeria, there is people from Africa, so very good designers, very good people. But as we know, these are people from third world countries, and the situations in those countries are not the situations in which we are here right now. So when I go and hire these people for these jobs, I feel that I'm still contributing to their own lives, and that is something a little bit social. I also like to promote the idea of having a socially conscious business, because if we are not thinking in the big picture, I feel that for some of us that are a little bit conscious of how we are and how our businesses operate, we we could be missing on all of these opportunities. So having a business is not just about having making money and having more time for yourself and all of that. It's also about how we can expand this and help other people in the world, and that's one way. So that's a nice experience about speaking about virtual teams and remote teams. This is going to create a whole new kind of like perspective of how businesses operated in the past and now where this is going, how this is changing rapidly, and all of these systems that used to work before, if now are not working, these are the new models and technologies that I feel that we should be using for good.
Oh, yeah, that sounds amazing. And yeah, you're right. Part of having a business is towards it's making money, but it's also trying to make the world a bit better place, and being able to support people in other countries that are not as affluent as ours definitely goes a long way. And I know I've traveled around the world quite a bit, and yeah, like $5 here doesn't mean a lot. $5 there, it's like, oh my goodness, this is, in some places more money than they make in a week doing, the jobs that are out there. So being able to support them and infuse money into their economy is definitely important, and especially when we look right now where
Mm-hmm.
there's a lot of places where there's like the travel industry was huge, and right now it's a ghost town. Um, those people are at home; they have their internet connections, they
Mm-hmm.
have their ability to still do their task, and it becomes one of those things of if you can hire them, you're going to get a better bang for your buck, but you're also
Yeah.
infusing money in a location which might be suffering more than you are right now.
Exactly, that you said is just beautiful, and that is what we can all achieve through a business. That's why the idea of having a business is absolutely awesome. If you, the listener, is a person there who is right now working in a regular job and you are considering this, just so you know, you can achieve a lot by doing this and helping other people. So this is the time to start. It's easier, there is a lot of technology, and if you have the right, drive and curiosity enough for what actually a business is, then the success from all my heart, I say, is assured for you. Because if you want to impact someone else at the same time than serving with your best expertise and insight, so then your life is going to go always well in terms of money and your own personal goals.
That is incredibly important. And I guess one of the questions I have on sort of that topic for people that are listening that are thinking about starting a business, what kind of advice do you have on them trying to find, say, like a mentor or maybe a uh, learning program or something like that that can sort of teach them, here's how you start a business as a minimalist business?
Mm-hmm. Mm, I haven't seen many people teaching how to start a minimalist business, but I feel that if you want to apply, if this philosophy resonates with you, and if you see the benefits of having more time in your own life, one of the things that I did is to start in applying the principles in my own life to see how productive that was or how good that was, and it ended up to being amazing. If you feel curious about how to implement this type of philosophy in your own business, then I feel that studying how to implement systems or how to create a lean type of business would be the right way to do it. And there are so many resources, of course, in YouTube, books, many books. One book that I recommend then is anybody who is who really thinks, yeah, I want to start doing this. Is called the E-Myth.
E-Myth? Okay.
Yes. Have you heard about that?
I have
That
not.
book? Yeah. Okay. That book is amazing. That book is, before I read that book, I had this foundation from my own engineering education, because as I explained at the beginning, I was trained in quality management, and quality management, which is like a philosophy from the 90s, was all about implementing systems in a business to actually achieve that. A streamlined business, like a more predictable operation in a company.
Mm-hmm.
So when I read this book, it totally made sense for me because I had already studied these systems. So that would be one recommendation, to read that book. And in that book, you're going to understand why is that you need to have systems. And then when you realize that you need to have systems and you're convinced of that, getting information outside that is online and starting to investigate is going to start giving you a good framework for that. And other than that, is like if you want to work with someone, so then finding people that is specialized in systems, or that have had enough experience with their own companies, big companies, that they were able to grow companies, also to learn from them how they were able to apply systems. Because the reality is that companies don't grow that big if without these systems in place, predictable systems. The goal here is that, or an easy way to explain this is like, you have to create a business that becomes the same than the McDonald's case. And the McDonald's case is that they created a franchise, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it's kind of like they created just one, and that model worked so well that they were able to repeat the model in other places, right? Now it's like a massive type of business. And it's because of that, because they created predictability inside their operations, and everything was very well, like a streamlining in the sense of, in order to get the first client, there was a procedure for what questions they have to ask, and people was trained under those procedures. There was a specific procedure to make the bands, or to place the whole operation to at the end produce like a good burger that people was gonna love it. There were procedures for every single thing,
Mm-hmm.
and that predictability was what created less inefficiencies and more productivity. With
Yeah.
less inefficiencies, the result of that is that there are going to be less costs, and with less costs, of course, you're going to be more profitable.
Yeah.
So that's why it makes sense. And as I said, just get a mentor. Yes, it's important if you feel lost. But other than that, I would say you can do it yourself. It's totally possible too.
Okay. So, what are some tips and tricks you have for current business owners to sort of embrace technologies, especially if they're looking at this from a perspective that they haven't quite gone and embraced those technologies yet? So, what
Mhm.
3 technologies would you
Yeah.
recommend that they start today to sort of improve their business from a
Yeah.
perspective of like best efforts?
Okay. Yeah. I'm going to start by saying just quickly a little framework to start, because we cannot start something if we're not totally, convinced or are afraid.
Mm-hmm.
So the first one, and I'm just going to frame this in a very quick way, is let's see, we're going to call this model the MCT model. M stands for mindset. So first of all, we have to be convinced that technology is not that scary. We can and we will. So that is the first step. Thinking that, yeah, it's very possible. We're going to do it. We're going to figure this out. The second one stands for curiosity. So it's approach the technology or that specific, piece of software or something that you know that you need for your business with a sense of curiosity, just like kids, right? Like, how does it work? Why do they design it like that? So then when you are with that approach, you lose the fear of interacting with that piece of software or technology, because you're approaching it from a more curiosity and relaxed way, just trying to know how that works. And the T stands for give it a try. So try it. And it's like you can write down step by step by yourself, watch a YouTube video, read a manual or something like that that explains you easier or step by step how to do it. And as you ask me three types of pieces that I would say, I say that right now it's very important, as you explained, to have an email list. So for that, having platforms that can make possible those email automations, it will be an advantage, yes, because it's gonna reduce a lot of time for you. And the database, as we explained, is the number one asset of any business. So there are platforms like, for example, MailChimp, ConvertKit. I personally love the platforms. It depends on the type of business, right? But I love the platforms in which you can have everything in one because it's easier. Because when you try to connect different apps to make all your like all your processes work
Mhm.
efficiently, that's when many people start to get confused. How do I make this payment, for example, app to work in my landing page? How do I make this email to work in my landing page too, for example, in my sales page? And sales funnels and all of that can get a little bit confusing. Facebook ads that are connected to those sales funnels, for example, that can get a little bit confusing. So for me, apps that the more that they are complete and all in one, in my own opinion, the better.
That's actually a very useful tip because, yeah, there's a lot of stuff out there, but it's the complete packages that sort of give you the maximum amount of value. Even if there is a small cost with them, they solve so many problems by simply working together.
Okay, yeah, and I say that from my own personal experience because I have tried these apps. So I started with Mailchimp, and Mailchimp is kind of like the entrance. Like we most of us we start there because it's affordable,
Mhm.
and it's all like with not complexity. Like we don't need many stuff, just to manage a couple of clients, right, or subscribers is not a big deal. But when you start to grow, then you realize that you need something more. So I used to have MailChimp, but at some point I realized that it was a little bit of a headache having to connect this one with another platform that would do, for example, a landing page, for example, lead pages,
Mhm.
and then to create sales pages and to create more systems that could allow me to interact with the people in the way that I wanted. I realized that that was not being very efficient. So then what I did is that I moved to one that was a platform that had everything in it. So right now, platforms that I recommend, especially for the people that have right now, okay, this is interesting. Any type of business right now in the world can have what is called a membership, and that is a good way to have passive income.
Mhm.
So for you to have a membership, you need a platform, right, in which people are going to have to make the payments, they are going to have access to your product or service, whatever. So then one app that I found interesting and good for me, and also because I'm in kind of like in information type of business, I chose Kajabi, because Kajabi is a platform where you can have a course, a membership, your email automation, you even a podcast, like you can do host webinars, you can have, you see, every single thing that you can kind of like imagine in this type of business is there. You can have it there in just one, in one platform. So I like that one. But recently I've been studying other ones that are, for example, Podia, which is even more affordable, and you can do exactly what I'm saying, but even more affordable. So it's like incredible because it's very accessible now
Mhm.
to being able to create a business, and not with high costs, definitely very low costs.
Okay, that is actually some nice tricks and tips for especially people wanting to start off doing information science and for those that have a more physical product. Um, so I'd like to thank you for coming out today and, well, I guess turning on your computer and recording this with me. So did you want to sort of give a quick little spiel as to what kind of services you provide clients? And then we'll go from there.
Yeah, I just want to say before anything, I'm super excited for this opportunity. I love talking about these topics. I love to inspire people. I love to speak about my own experiences and interact. So, first of all, I would say you don't necessarily have to work with me. Just take this and, as I explained, use your curiosity to explore more. And I'm pretty sure you're gonna find the answer. But I happen to have this expertise from my engineering, background, from my own experience, the things that I've created. I also even have a podcast. So I love all of this creative side of things, and I happen to have, my website is www.dianaolynick.com. So then there is a form there where you can get in touch with me, or my email is hello@dianaolynick.com. And those are the best ways to reach out. I can definitely help you one on one, because I really love that opportunity. And I'm planning right now to start a mastermind. And the mastermind would be to help business owners with all of these implementations. So for the mastermind, it wouldn't be just my expertise, it will be other experts in the mastermind. So it's something that you should give it a try, because that is a way in which you're not just relying in a course and yourself. It will be having the leverage of other experts and having that continuous answer of those particular questions that you might have that just happen in your business. Nobody else have those type of issues, and by being able to solve those particular questions, then is when you can have more value out of anything that you can get involved in the sense of getting support or guidance. So I think that this mastermind is going to be awesome. Yeah, so please reach out or follow me in my accounts, Diana Olynick, in Facebook, in Instagram, in Twitter, in LinkedIn. Super easy. And I would love to talk to you. Thank you very much, and I wish you all the best from all my heart.
Well, thank you for coming out today, Diana. And if you are interested in giving a shout to Diana or checking out her podcast, I will have that link in the description of this podcast. And
Mhm.
thank you for watching, and feel free to subscribe to this podcast. And again, I'd like to thank you, Diana, for coming today and talking to us about minimalist business and what are some of the technologies people can sort of leverage to be able to start a business today more efficiently. Thank you very much.
Thank you.